Good evening and welcome to FTB Sports. This is the post-match reaction show with myself, Sam, and guest. We have Darius and we have Nigel in the house. Welcome to you both. How are we doing?
Good. Relax.
Good.
Looking forward to the game coming up as well. Very excited for this game coming up.
The main game's gone now. The main game was, obviously, you can see the result below. Sheffield United 1, Spurs 3. And so we're going to have a quick post-match review. We're all smiling and happy as we are when we win games. It's been a... Getting off here. Can you hear all right?
Yeah, can hear you.
I've got a feedback coming on my thing. Anyway, let's go to you first, Darius. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Right, yeah. So, and I think it was a good game. I think the thing with Tottenham is we all expect a certain performance after what's happened the past few weeks. I think a lot of us were expecting to go very, very attacking and kind of push for that extra third and fourth goal that we haven't really been looking for in games in the second half. But yeah, I'm kind of looking back at it now. I'm not really expecting that from Jose. And while I did want to see a little bit more, I'm happy with the result and the performance as well. Especially some team performance was very, very, very good. But I think some individual performances today were really, really standout. I think Ndombele, Bergwijn, I think, has cemented his place in the starting 11 this game. I think he was brilliant. I thought, but Ndombele obviously was fantastic. Scored a great goal as well. And I think your obvious players who do well, your Regulons and Højbjerg, I think they all played well, and Rodon as well coming in. So I think looking back at it, the formation change and the team lineup, it was different, but it worked. And I would actually possibly like to see this going forward a little bit more, because I think now when Ndombele's really proved himself in being able to play in a double pivot and only in a double pivot without a number 10 in front. So I think there's a lot to take from this game. But overall, I think the performance was good. We're a little bit too defensive, maybe coming out of the second half, but we seem to concede that goal and kind of jolt us back into an attacking formation. So yeah, no, I'm happy with the performance overall. I think it was pretty good, to be fair.
Excellent. Sorry about that bit earlier. I had a bit of a double feedback on, I think, because the YouTube was on at the same time. So apologies if anybody just slightly noticed a bit of a problem. But yeah, I enjoyed the performance from the team. We continued to play at the first 10 minutes of the second half. It got a little bit slower in after that 10 minutes, and obviously that allowed the goal. But then we went on, we took advantage of that, and we scored again. So Nigel, was you happy with the performance? Anything stand out for you?
I was happy with it. I was especially happy with the shape. But my thing is always with Mourinho, I feel like I can get happy when we play smaller teams, because I think he weighs it up and he says, can we do this? Can we not? So I'd like to see him continue it. But I really liked how the shape allowed, we had options in the middle, either Son or Bergwijn were coming in if Kane wanted to drop. We had the ball, so we actually allowed Ndombele, Bergwijn to actually show their qualities. I just think overall, especially Regulon going forward, it kind of highlighted our best elements. So I really liked how we played, the shape, and what it allowed us to do today.
Yeah, and I think that 3-4-3, although a lot of people think 3-4-3s can be defensive, the two players that were dropped from the team, being Winks and Sissoko, allowed someone like Rodon to come and give us a little bit more solidity in the defense. But Steven Bergwijn, for me, was a real top performer. He gives an added dimension to going forward. Now, I was saying to Darius earlier, he's almost like a Sissoko in terms of his running ability, but he's better quality. He's a lot better in terms of what he does in that final third. And so with the 3-4-3 as such, the other thing that I noticed was Ndombele was dropping a little bit deeper, but he wasn't too deep in terms of picking up the ball on the edge of his own box. He was picking up the ball in and around that centre circle area, but then he was making a difference with his ability and his quality, and his goal was fantastic. You know, that's the sort of
unbelievable, wasn't it?
It was really, really top class finish. Kane's goal was another top class finish. Again, that came from a lot of pressing in and around their on their Sheffield United players. Got the ball, a couple of passes, and then Kane did the rest. If we play like that, do we have a good chance now of, the next Premier League game, and I'll come to you, Nigel, will be against Liverpool? How do you think Jose may now look at that, what we've done today, and approach the Liverpool game?
See, I mean, the reason why I could have said earlier that we don't create enough chances but at the same time still believe that we could win the league is because I don't think Jose Mourinho is stupid. I think you can recognize when something's not working. And I don't think we're going to go there with the same kind of defensive plans that we may have done in another time. But what worries me is sometimes he like I say, like he only plays high press and high pressing football if he has no respect for the other team. So I'm hoping that he's seen enough in this game to say, I like what our wide players are doing. We still have the solidity and we still have the attacking threat. Kane's dropping and doing this and that. And it kind of weaves it all together. And it's not on our defense isn't clearly as good as we thought it was, especially at the start of the season. And to rely on it for long periods of time just isn't the way forward. So I'm hoping that we play this way. We kind of do put that pressure on Liverpool because Liverpool have shown that they're not as formidable as we thought they were. So I think I've enough faith in Jose Mourinho to think he's seen that this is the way forward and we will be able to play this way. Whether we win or not, is another thing because everyone knows like Liverpool and the big game, it's hard, but I think we're going to try a different approach.
I think the approach may be different. I don't think he'll play free against someone like Liverpool. I think this was more to match up and to show the respect to Sheffield United today. But what we did do well was that in terms of, I guess, getting both our fullbacks into the game high and wide. It's one of the notes I made when the starting lineup came out, that both fullbacks, Aurier and Reguilon, were allowed to be high up the pitch and wide on the pitch.
Having those fullbacks be our wide players, though, it did allow us to have options in the middle, which was one of the biggest things with Kane coming in, and we had nothing going down the middle. And massively. It's like if it was to counter Sheffield, but it's solved one of our biggest problems, it's kind of like surely
that's why I want it to continue. Exactly, that's my point. Why I want it to continue, because I could notice when I saw that there was two in the middle, I thought, okay, and it did happen a couple of times in the game. We were kind of getting overrun slightly on transition. So when Sheffield would bring the ball forward, a lot of their players could drive with the ball. If they beat Hotspur, or if Hotspur got caught out of position and Ndombele isn't going to be able to cover that space as much, and their centre mids were able to drive forward more. But because we had three at the back, we weren't missing a defensive body in that formation, in that position. So even if our midfield was to be bypassed, they still had to beat a back three, and most of the time Hotspur was in that position to defend. But it still allows us to have a back four. But then, like you said, we can have both fullback options to kind of create from now. So it's
continuing on that theme then, Darius, and I'll just go to the question. I'll ask both of you that's on here from Mike. So what do you think of Rodon's performance? Given it was in the back three, what do you think his performance was like?
I think it was a good performance. I think for me, when I compare Rodon, I'm comparing Rodon with Sanchez because I think we have two. And again, we can get onto Dyer. We can talk about Dyer's performance. I don't think he had a great performance today. I think he was at fault for the goal, especially because he completely missed the header for the ball when the ball was in the box and McGoldrick was able to score quite easily. But looking at Rodon's performance, when I compare him to Sanchez and watching Sanchez play, if Rodon was to make a mistake, I feel much more comfortable in Rodon's ability, knowing he's going to get back and he's not going to make a rash mistake as a result of him making a prior mistake. So I think just bringing that calm air into the back line when you don't have your main guys and Dyer and Alderweireld playing, I just think it's very refreshing to know that I can trust in a third centre back, because when I see Sanchez play, can't really trust him, can't really expect him to put in a performance that I know, because like you said, we look at the Fulham game and we would always say that Sanchez had a good performance right until he made that mistake. That was the reason that we dropped the 2 points. If you look at Rodon's performance, it was a couple of times. There was a specific one that I remember in the first half where he took the ball forward, like he said, down the right side and played a square ball into the middle. And he was dispossessed, but he was able to get back in time. And he was the person who made the block. So when I see that happening, and when I see also Rodon making big, massive blocks in all areas of the pitch at all times of the game, I feel more rest assured having him in defense than a Sanchez. And I think that he can really, really push for that. I think my favorite partnership would probably be Rodon and Alderweireld after maybe 6 months a year, because I think that can really, really work.
So, Nigel, do you think Rodon's done enough to start again in a league game in a 2, or do you think he's only going to be more a 3 when Jose plays this type of formation?
See, I mean, I like Darius. I took a lot of positives from Rodon's performance. But I wouldn't make the yardstick Sanchez, Because if Sanchez is the yardstick, then you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, maybe so.
We shouldn't measure against
It's what we've got
Sanchez,
though now, isn't it? That's
correct.
what I mean. It's what we've got at the moment. So that was kind of my reason for the comparison.
it's interesting though because Toby didn't start.
Yeah,
that was very interesting for me as well. And I kind of looked at that as thinking, is that Jose giving Rodon a chance? Because I know he already trusts Davis already. So I know he's got him in his head, and he can switch from that left-sided centre back to a left back or left wing back. But I think obviously going forward as a left wing back, Reguilon is the first person you're going to put on the team sheet. But saying from a left-sided centre back, obviously being a left-footed, Ben Davies gives you that probably a bit more balance to the team.
distribution's easier, isn't it, from the back?
It's easier to play out. You're right. But saying that, I was then surprised that we didn't have Alderweireld. So I look at this as being a bit of a test for Rodon. Can he cope with a game like Sheffield United? Did he perform well enough to keep his place? Yeah, I think he did. As you were saying, he did make a mistake, but his mistakes are not compounded. He doesn't then go around running around trying to, take out the next player that he sees, which again is a little bit of coolness in him. There's a couple of comments here, so I'm going to read them out. Bergwijn played very well today, and I think we all agreed that Bergwijn did have a pretty good game. I thought he was allowed us to stretch them going forward, or stretch them going forward for us. But he held the ball up well. I like his hold up play. He has a much better touch than people give him credit for, and I think that's something that should be not underlooked. Another comment here: should Mourinho have made subs sooner? I'll ask the question: should he have made subs sooner?
Yeah,
Nigel?
I would say.
I would say it's another one. Like we talked about this last time. I think we had the Europa League game, and we're like, why didn't he bring everyone on? And I'm one of those people who believe like it's easier to look in hindsight and say he should have brought on the subs. But especially the way we ship goals late in, I'm happy that he just kept the big guns on and just finished it off. I'm rather safe than sorry, to be honest. So I don't mind not having the guys brought on.
Yeah, I think the only thing is it's the why don't if you're not gonna bring somebody on after, in my opinion, after about 81 minutes, unless there's an injury or anything, I just like bringing on Vinicius at 89, 90 minutes, and even Lucas at 87 minutes. Is it really gonna do anything for anyone? You may as well just make your one sub in. I know you're wasting time, but.
Do you remember the West Ham game where we were like, "Oh, comfortable, bring everyone on"?
No, so I'm saying, don't. You may as well just not bring anybody on. Just if you're not going to make any substitutions, just I don't know if it really affects, if it's going to affect the confidence of players. I don't know if it would, but if I was to come on at 90 minutes, especially consistently week on, week off, I'd just be like, you're taking the piss a little bit now, mate. Like, don't bring me on if you're going to bring me on for 2 minutes.
I think players do have to have some sort of professionalism about them, and I think the manager probably has a word of him either before the game or after the game to kind of say, look, if we're in this situation, this is what I'm going to do, because it's all designed to run down the clock. That's what he does it for. To bring someone like Sanchez on when it's 92 minutes 30 seconds is only to run down the clock. That's not for the player to go and make a difference. And I was like, you don't need to come on at all, Sanchez. But we've already got into the do's and don'ts about making substitutions. I just think not making substitutions earlier, particularly when we probably weren't in the danger of losing that game once it got to like 70, 75 minutes. I think we'd got their third goal, and that was maybe an opportunity, not necessarily, as you were saying, Nigel, to disrupt the back line, but certainly to give a forward maybe a bit more. I would like to see Gareth Bale maybe play for 20 minutes. I'd definitely like to see Vinicius play for 20 minutes.
Sonny could have come off today, couldn't he? Like, Sonny didn't really have a great performance. Let's be honest. He hit the post, but he didn't really do much in the game. So he could have come off and rested himself. So
yeah, Solo here saying that was one of Spurs' better games in a long time. Back into the top four, guys, and still in the mix. Yeah, I think that was a must-win. And I said, we keep going on must-win games. But given that we have now, I guess, alleviated this sort of issue where we're winning 1-0 and then drawing games, how can we progress from here?
I'll let you go, Nigel.
Oh wow, thank you, Darius. How can we progress? I just think we need to commit to our style of play. That's the biggest thing. Like, we need to commit to using the players that we have, because we're very reactionary. Like, whoever we play will say, oh, they do that, so we'll do this. They do that, we'll do this. And it's like, we have very good players, as we've shown today. and you give them time on the ball, you give them the opportunity to make the play, I think we win most of the games that we play. Like the games that we've drawn in the past, it was us trying to say just lock up shop, or it was us trying to sit back or whatever. But if we can commit to our quality, I think we just drop a lot less points. And I hope this is like a reassurance that we do have the quality, that we don't have to lock up leads. Like just play, just don't, like Sheffield United or Leeds or whatever, like these teams, we don't have to change how we play. Just go out and do what we do, and hopefully we can come out with the 3 points, because we have the quality. Now, we were saying we would accept it against Liverpool and other teams, but we've seen through the points that we've dropped, it's come from showing too much respect to these little teams.
I think that's the point. I think that's a great point that you make, because when you look at the game against Wolves, I know that we changed the 3 at the back, and Wolves playing 3 at the back, they didn't actually play 3 at the back in that game, and that's my fear. If Jose predicts a team to play the way that they play, and then they compensate to play the way that we play, it's gonna throw off your whole tactical. Do you know what I mean? Your whole tactics going into the game are going to change, because Wolves have played 4 at the back and you've expected them to play 3. So now it's like, what are you going to do? So if you have a distinct way of playing and you go into all your games at least deploying that style to start with, then if anything happens later on into the game, you can kind of adjust towards. If Wolves bring on, I don't know, another attacking player, they brought on Traore, something like that, and he was going at us, then you can bring on another centre back, and because we can play 3s now. So I'm pretty sure we could change formation throughout games. So I agree with what you're saying. I think that we just need to be a little bit less respectful of teams.
What it does show is the flexibility that we have, because we can change formations and shape in game, and we often do that. As I said, it's in and out of possession. But this shows me that we've got an ability to play a certain style in terms of a formation and a style of football with the way we kind of had a counter-attacking, but was more on the front foot today. So that's good for me to see. Just go through a couple more comments, because I know we're all very interested in seeing this game next. So Mike again here, Toby has to be starting against LFC. Yeah, I would say you'd probably want your most experienced players playing, but again, Rodon hasn't done himself any harm by what he's done today. Another comment here, would you change anything with the back line to make it tighter? Feels like without Toby, we are at times a little vulnerable. I think the goal came from, again, a very similar mistake that I've seen on a number of occasions, allowing the cross to come in. That's because Ori was out of position. You got someone coming out from centre-back position 2 meters. Usually, if there's only a back 4 and you've only got 2 centre-backs, that one centre-back's coming out leaves one player to have to defend it with a full-back. We still had 4 players in the box. And if you look at the highlights again, you'll see there were 4 players in the box that shouldn't really be allowing Magolja to get up and head the ball. But that being said, if we can cut out goals against us through headers and we can defend better in the box from crosses, I think that stands us in really, really good stead going forward. So just any final comments from both of you guys, and could you make them quick, because the game's going to be on soon and I'm getting excited because we've won. I want to see if Liverpool can. I
only wanted to say on just that comment there, I just wanted to say, I think Jose's kind of given us a false mentality, because if you're an attacking team, you're going to have to give up at least a couple opportunities. If you're throwing your players forward and you want to get into attacking formations and put as many players in the box, you're going to have to accept the fact that sometimes you're going to be left a little bit open. And I think what makes me a little bit more excited for the future of Tottenham and going forward is I know that we're a good defensive team. So we can just, like Nigel said, take off that seatbelt a little bit and just kind of go for it a little bit more. I still know that we can defend as a unit. It's just I'm forgetting now how to kind of obliterate teams, because I'm expecting my team to defend, and I don't really think that we should be thinking that as Spurs fans, as football fans in general. You should want to win the game, and if it gets a little bit dicey in the second half, then you can change your way, your style to kind of adjust to how obviously teams are playing. But yeah, that's all I really want to say.
Nigel, I'll give you the final word.
Yeah, man.
Final words.
Hopefully this is a sign of things to come. Ndombele influencing games, Kane dropping, Son through the middle. Like, it was just all the things you love to see. I know that it's Sheffield, but I hope it's a kick on and it's a sign of things to come. Good.
I like that. So again, solid performance from the Spurs today, I believe. Back into the top 4, very close, to being closer to that top 2. And I think we could get there depending on how things go the next few games. This has been FTB Sports. Please, again, like, subscribe, share, comment. It's been fantastic for seeing both of you on. We'll have Mike on again next time. He was unavailable today. But again, thank you both, and we'll see you again soon on the next one.
Come on, United, please, please.